Everybody, this is Rob Phelan here from The Simple Startup. I am joined by Marina, who owns the business Jewelry by Marina, and she's going to tell us all about it today. Marina, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. So Marina and I met in the very first Simple Startup Challenge, which was back in June of 2020. And it was my first time starting my business. And I guess it was your first time starting your business too, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. I started making jewelry earlier in quarantine because I was trying to find new hobbies and things to do where in a time where there's nowhere to go. And then I signed up for the camp and turned it into a business.
Okay, so that hobby only really started like a month or two beforehand.
Yeah, probably around a month ago, I got some supplies from Michael's and started making beading necklaces or beaded necklaces. And then I started the business and expanded to a lot more different types of jewelry.
All right, so let's dive straight in. What is the business? Tell me about it.
So I make and sell jewelry on Etsy and Instagram, and then I donate 30% of my profits to the NAACP because during quarantine I also got more into social justice movements and became more aware. So I really wanted to do something to contribute to the cause, and I decided to combine my new hobby with my desire to do that and started a business.
That's fantastic. All right, so NAACP, what does that stand for?
It stands for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. So it's associated with civil rights and equality and sort of connected to the Black Lives Matter movement.
That's fantastic. I'm really proud of you for doing something like that with the profits of
Thank
your
you.
business. I don't think there's a lot of people your age who would be like, you know what, I've just started making some money for myself. I'm going to give away 30% of it because, I feel very strongly about that. A, charity maybe not the first thing on our minds, and then B, just the awareness of what's going on in our society. So yeah, super proud of you for doing that. Go you.
Thank you.
All right. So you had this hobby of making jewelry. Was there anything that inspired that, or were you just kind of like, you know what, I need a hobby. Jewelry making sounds fun.
Yeah, it was just I needed a hobby. I had so much time in quarantine. They didn't really, or school got a lot easier towards the end because they wanted to make it easier for us. So I didn't have much to do school wise and I needed other things to do. So I decided to try that out.
Okay. So then Simple Startup Challenge comes up, and this is a 5 week program where you had to take your idea and really turn it into a business in that 5 weeks. So tell me about your experience there. What did you do with your business, and how did the course help?
So the course helped me figure out a unique selling point because just selling jewelry is a really wide field. It's not really enough to make yourself stand out. So it really helped enforce the idea that you need something unique about your business to sell. So for me, my unique selling points are that I donate money. My jewelry is handmade and sourced from Etsy shops instead of from larger wholesale um, suppliers, and also that I package with sustainable supplies. And I just put a lot of effort into making my business sustainable and ethical.
So there's a lot of cool stuff in there. So you're sourcing your materials from other small business owners. You're packaging it in sustainable materials, so you're not throwing in a ton of like plastic that can't be recycled or things like that. That's awesome. Yeah. And again,
Thank
your
you.
unique selling point, guys, does not have to be something crazy. It's just something that sets you apart and makes you unique from your other competitors out there. Because as Marina said, jewelry making is not a brand new idea, and it doesn't have to be. You can do any idea that's already out there as long as you put your own small twist on it. All right. So you started in June. What's happening in your business now? How has it grown since then?
It's definitely grown. I started off with only beaded necklaces and supplies from stores like Michael's, and it definitely started very slowly and it took a lot of time. But once I built up enough profit that I was able to start profiting and pay off for the original supplies I got, I I looked into new materials and started making earrings and chain necklaces and new charms that were from suppliers where you need to do a lot of research to find them. And then the sales just started going up, especially in December during Christmas season. That was definitely the high point where my sales, they probably doubled around November, December. And today, most of my sales come from Etsy, but a lot of my friends will still order through Instagram. And yeah.
Okay. So Etsy, for anyone who's not familiar, is when you're going to basically you have a homemade or handmade item So Etsy doesn't really want you doing things that are manufactured by somebody else and then you're just reselling. They want stuff that's handmade, homemade. That's their kind of unique selling point themselves, as opposed to an Amazon where you can resell anything that is manufactured or handmade for that matter. Um, so why do you think people were finding you around Christmas? Did you do anything different? So I'm curious, like, is it just the fact that you existed? Did you do any sort of advertising, or how are people finding your Etsy store?
So I have experimented with Etsy advertising, which is where you set a certain daily budget, and then every time someone clicks on your ad, they charge you. And I actually haven't had much success with the Etsy advertisement. I think you need to have a really big advertising budget for that to be effective. And it translated into a lot more visits to my shop and views, but not really into more sales. And I think almost every small business probably experiences a surge in sales around the Christmas season. And especially with jewelry, it's a really popular gift that people were probably getting for their moms or their sisters or their friends. And a lot of the orders I get were marked as gifts by the person. So I think the main reason is just Christmas season, people feel like buying.
Yeah, I love what you said about the Etsy advertising. It got a lot of views, but maybe not a lot of conversions into sales. And I find Facebook advertising is very similar, and same with Instagram advertising. It takes a couple of tries, and you have to try like almost the same advertisement, but in like three different ways. So it's called a split test. And you see, okay, if I do the same advertisement, so advertising the same product or my store, but I do three different versions of it. So maybe one has my unique selling point in big writing, and that's what I'm going for. The second one is my favorite product or my best seller. Like, let's get that big front and center. And then the third one might be like, special pricing or sales. And then you run all three at the same time and you see which one actually produces the most views and the most conversions. And then
Yeah.
you start kind of doing that over and over. You narrow down, okay, what kind of advertisement works for me? And then also picking your audience, like who are you trying to put this in front of? So getting it in front of your actual target market is a hard thing to do.
Yeah, it is.
As you said, lots of people viewed it. So it's not like no one saw it, but your target market didn't see it because they didn't go and buy. So you have to try and figure out how to do that, which is a
Yeah.
whole adventure in itself. So YouTube is a fantastic place to learn how to do that, by the way.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to go more into Etsy because you are not still over 18. You're still classed as a minor. Did that cause any problems when it came to being a seller on Etsy or collecting money from people? And if so, how did you overcome it?
Yeah, it definitely took some extra research and just looking into what other people did. But I did know that there were lots of other minors that sell on Etsy, so I knew it was possible. And I think the rule is just that you need to have a parent or guardian who's involved and just like looking over you and making sure you're not doing anything wrong. But other than that, I had to set up a new checking account because before I only had a savings account, and I had to get some new credit cards and stuff. And there's a lot of research that goes into which credit card companies will let minors have them, debit cards. And also with PayPal and Venmo, it's a little bit difficult because their terms of use say that you have to be 18 to use them, but almost every teenager and minor has their own account. So it took some figuring out exactly what I needed to do to collect money in ways other than cash and make sure I was following all the rules on Etsy.
Yeah, and that's the key, guys, is you don't let these things stop you. There is a way to make it work. And that could even be as simple as, hey, all the money is going to go through a parent. So you might get your dad to say, okay, you know what? I will set up a separate checking account for you, a debit card, a credit card, and so on. But basically, it's yours. You are going to maintain it, and we're going to keep separate records, and we just run everything through your parent. Now, of course, when it comes to things like taxes, that means that they are responsible for it, but they basically could say to you, like, hey, this is the amount you owe for the taxes. Let's make it happen. So don't let it stop you. There's always a way to make this work. Speaking of, how do you keep records for all this? Because at this point, you've been selling for about 6 months. Like, I'm guessing you've made a little bit of money by now.
Yeah, so I have multiple spreadsheets. I have one where I record every sale and the buyer's name, what they ordered, how much they paid, how much their shipping was, how much I had to pay for shipping, and then my Etsy fees for that order. And then I have another spreadsheet that my dad also helps to manage that's directly connected to my bank account. So it shows when Etsy will deposit money into my bank account, and when I use my credit card to buy new supplies. That's all connected to that spreadsheet, and the numbers are closely aligned, so I know that my spreadsheet is working. Um, And yeah, that's the main way. And also within Etsy, they also give you monthly statements and analytics where you can see how much money did I have at this point, how much did I make this month, how much went to shipping, how much went to advertising fees, and then how much was left over for profit. So within Etsy, there's a lot of good tools. And I also have two spreadsheets that I keep myself.
Awesome. And yeah, you should be getting an annual report from them probably anytime now that'll say like, here was your entire annual earnings and how much we collect in taxes or how much you still owe because it came from different areas. And you just check that against your spreadsheets and see that they match. Because if they don't match, then you got to do a little bit of detective work and figure, okay, where did I lose some money here? Either it's too much recorded or too little recorded, or I forgot to log a cost, something. And
Yeah,
that's called reconciling your accounts and just making sure they match
yeah,
up. You should always do that with any financial account, whether it's your credit cards, your business, your checking account. Just check every once in a while and see that everything kind of matches up with what you thought should have been in there.
yeah.
All right. So how much did you say how much you've made so far from your business?
So I've donated 30% of my profits, but after donating, my profit is around 500 right now.
That is awesome.
Thank
So
you.
you're using the $500 to buy the rest of your materials, right? Like you're not really going into your own money anymore. You're just using the business to fund the business, right?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. And how long did it take you to get to that point where you had brought in enough money that you had covered all of your costs and you could start doing that?
It definitely took a while and a lot of patience to reach that point because it's kind of frustrating when you feel like you're making money, but your overall balance is still negative. But I would say it took me probably around a month. It was when I started buying new supplies like the chains and new charms that were more popular than the beaded necklaces that I was able to start really profiting and making money.
Okay. And did you know that they were going to be more popular before you bought them, or is that something you just found out afterwards?
I think I did. You definitely see people wearing chains and earrings more than beaded necklaces, I would say. And also, just like if you search necklace on Etsy, you're going to see chains and charms, not really beads. And also, I am a teenage girl. I buy jewelry. I know that that's the jewelry I would wear over beaded necklaces. So that all helped me decide what supplies to buy.
And I like that you had more detail than just, oh, that's what I would buy. Because that's a trap a lot of us fall into. Like, oh, well, I think it's a wonderful idea. I would buy it. And then therefore everyone else should want it too. But you didn't stop there. You said, you know what? When I look at what other people are wearing, so I observe my target market, there's more chains than there is beaded stuff. And then when I check other sellers and see what they're selling, they're mostly selling chain stuff, which tells me that that's probably the more popular item. I should get into
Yeah,
the market too. So that's part of your market research, guys. It doesn't mean you have to go out and survey everyone and be like, hey, would you prefer a chain or a bead? You could just say, like, I'm going to observe what's out there already and then make decisions based off of that. So it's got to be more than just your gut feeling. But
yeah,
I love the detail you went into there.
yeah.
All right. Do you have any examples, by the way, of your jewelry? I would love to see some.
Yeah, I do. I'm wearing some right now. So these white butterfly earrings and this necklace are some examples. And you can also see them on my Etsy.
All right. And how much would they sell for? Like, what are we talking about here in terms of price?
So I try to keep my prices pretty low. These earrings, I believe, are $6, and this necklace is probably $7 or $8.
Okay. And how did you decide on your pricing? So this is a big part of our camp, and it's usually at the very end we decide, okay, are we charging enough? Are we charging too much? Are we charging too little? How did you figure out, is this the right price for you?
So there's a lot of different things I've utilized. Also, of course, looking at other Etsy shops and other Instagram jewelry sellers and seeing their price range for similar products is helpful. Also thinking about what I would be willing to pay personally. And another thing I've utilized a lot is Instagram polls. So, like before you ask how I know whether something will sell or what made me decide to buy chains, and the polls help a lot. If I put an example of what the jewelry would look like and say, would you buy this? And then I also give an option for pre-orders, that gives me a really good sense of how much will sell and whether it will be popular. And for the pricing, it depends on how much the supplies cost because certain charms are more expensive. It also depends on the quality. Like these chains are gold plated, but a few of the other chains aren't, so those would be less expensive. Um, but yeah, I try to keep my prices lower and accessible to other people like me.
Yeah, and I'm one who follows you on Instagram. I love what you do on Instagram because I think it's so creative the way that you present your products, the way you try and engage with your audience. Like, how did you learn that? I know I didn't teach it to you because I'm still learning Instagram.
Yeah. Well, I've been on Instagram since probably sixth grade, and I've definitely spent probably way too much time on it, as I'm sure a lot of other teenagers have. So I've become really familiar with all the tools like polls, questions, surveys, quizzes, um, likes, saves, how to utilize the algorithm. So that was just from my experience with my own personal account. And also when I made my business account, I got a lot of follows from other small businesses. So I definitely got ideas that I picked up from bigger, successful businesses as well.
Yeah, just once again, observe what your competitors are doing and see, okay, what do I like? What seems to be working? Which of their posts are getting the most likes? And then just break down, okay, why is that? Is it the content or is it the way they're presenting it? And if it's presentation, you can always do that yourself. You can always replicate that. So yeah, you are doing an awesome job on Instagram.
Thank you.
I love seeing your posts, and they're certainly presenting your stuff in a really nice light. I love the one where you shared how you made your products. So you did a small series on like this is the process that goes into making one of these earrings or a necklace. And I thought that was a great thing to share. And for those of you watching, don't be afraid to do that. You're not giving away your trade secrets. You're letting your customers know like, hey, there's some love and care going into this, and it makes them want to buy it even more because they see what goes into it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Is there anything else that you want to give as advice to young business owners who are thinking about getting started, whether it's in the jewelry business or in something else?
This is pretty cliche, but obviously don't give up. It's really easy to get frustrated at the beginning when you don't get sales, and especially when it's when you're really your main audience at the beginning is probably going to be people you know in person, like friends, and you're going to be looking for validation from them. But even if they're not all super eager to buy your products, just don't give up and keep exploring new options and new ways you can improve your business. And it definitely takes some time to start to profit and pay off your debt for the original supplies you had to buy. But just don't get discouraged. And almost every business that puts in a lot of effort and thought will eventually succeed.
Love that. And how about for anyone who the winter challenge, Simple Start Winter Challenge is about to start on Monday. Is there any advice you would give to those new business owners? So like
Yeah,
for getting through the challenge.
um, definitely do the exercises in the book. Really try, like, give them, put effort into them. Really think about what your unique selling points are going to be, and how you can make yourself stand out from other people in your field. And yeah, just watch the videos, do the books, put effort into it.
Awesome. All right. So the final thing I want to ask you is, what is a challenge that you are facing in your business that you would like help solving? So what are you trying to work through right now? Are you trying to grow in a certain area? Are you trying to add more products? Are you finding that something's just not working right and you want help figuring that out? What's your biggest challenge right now?
I definitely want to find better ways to advertise because I've tried both Instagram and Etsy ads, and neither of them are super effective. So, one thing that I know has worked really well for a lot of other small businesses is TikTok because the videos can go viral very, very quickly. You can go from 0 to 300 sales in a matter of days if your video goes viral. But I'm taking pretty hard classes in school, so I don't really have the time to make TikToks, and then Etsy and Instagram ads aren't really working. And I'm still getting sales, but I could be getting more sales if I had better ways to advertise. So that's something I'm trying to work on.
Interesting. Okay. So if you're watching this video and you have some ideas on how Marina could expand that advertising and maybe get better conversions on her advertising, whether that's going to a new platform, or maybe you have some tips or advice on how she could do better with her Instagram or Etsy ads, put in the comments on the video and we would love to hear from you. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today, Marina. Where can people find your business? So where are you on Etsy and where are you on Instagram?
So on Etsy, my shop name is Jewelry by Marina P. It's spelled the way it sounds. And you just need to search for it and then click find shop names called that. And then on Instagram, my username is jewelry.by.marina, and my Etsy link is also in my Instagram, so that might be an easier way to find it.
Perfect. I will have that in the video as well. All right, Marina, thank you so much for joining us today. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.